Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Todd's Pod. We talk about everything about recovery, all kinds of different recoveries, because everybody has their own path, and nobody can tell anybody what their path is going to be. So, we shut the door. And so, this week I have a gentleman that I've known for a while. His name is Sean, and I'm going to invite Sean in. Come on in, Sean.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, man.
I'll give you the hug.
All right. All right. What you got there?
Oh, this is a gift for you. I made
Thank
this.
you. Nice.
So yeah, it's a little
Fill
nice
in the
little
water?
pot. Huh?
Fill in the water?
No. So this hasn't been fired. So if
Okay.
you get any water in it, it's gonna mess up the
So
clay.
dry plant, dry.
It's like dried, and then I put like a coating spray on it.
My wife will fill in that with something. She does a lot of that kind of decorating.
Like
stuff.
maybe put like pens or pencils in there or something.
Great idea.
Yeah.
I like that. Cool. That'll be my pen holder. So Sean, I know that your recovery is a little bit different than others and different than mine, and we all have our own, right?
Yeah.
But who is Sean? Where does Sean come from? What happened? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell them a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from New York City. I moved around a lot as a kid.
Okay.
Partially due to my mom joining the army, and
Okay.
finally it landed me here in San Antonio. Growing up, I had a lot of problems with, like a lot of internal mental problems. I was bullied a lot as a child growing up, going to school. Those kind of things like really did something to me, I guess, as I got older. Things like how I want people to perceive me became very important to me. And if somebody wasn't perceiving me the way I want them to perceive me, it would really mess me up. So how I got kind of started on like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that is it, kind of changes the way you feel.
Yep.
Depending on the substance too. I didn't start out with like a gateway drug like weed. My mom was prescribed like opiates, so that was the first thing that I tried. I tried my mom's Vicodin.
Okay.
Around the age 15. So
Gave you that Superman feeling at 15.
yeah. And then from there it was like, oh, this made me feel great. So let's try weed. Let's try coke. Like all in my teenage years, I tried very hard substances, like heroin, meth, coke, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
LSD, just the whole spectrum of like substances. Because I loved at the time, like, well, this will make me feel this way. I never have to sit with myself and my own thoughts, because I could always just depend on whatever's around to change how I feel.
Right.
So that whole worrying about people and how they perceive me and stuff, that kind of gets silenced when you're on some kind of substance or something like that.
Correct.
If I'm at a party, I'm not really looking at, oh, how are people looking at me because I'm drinking or smoking.
Okay.
So from there, it was just a downhill. But the thing that stuck with me the most was always like opiates, heroin. That was my DOC.
DOC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you sounded more like me. I was polysubstance, which means it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I like you have been addicted to just about everything there is out there, so I get that. So how old were you when you moved from New York?
Well, like I moved from New York around like the age, I think like 6.
6?
To like Pennsylvania, stayed there for a little bit.
Okay.
Then moved to Maryland.
Okay.
And then I finally came to San Antonio around the age, I think like 13. It was like around like 7th grade. I forgot what age that is.
I too grew up in a military family, and I think the moving around and having to meet new people is probably was difficult for me. Like you, I don't think I ever felt good about the way I thought people perceived me.
Yeah, and like for me, like I never grew those strong friendships as a child, and I still have a problem with that today, admittedly. Because I was always like, well, if I move, I could just change the way who I am, how I present to people. Like maybe when I go to this school, I'm like a very quiet kind of guy. Then I go to this school and I can be a little bit more outgoing, and so. And even after moving to San Antonio, I did move back to New York for a bit too, in my adulthood. But then I came back here. So like it was a lot of moving, and that really like took a toll on me and how I build connections with people.
Yeah, I think that so when I see people, let's say we see these two guys, right? And they're like, "Oh, we've been friends since elementary school."
That
We've
was
been friends.
mine.
Yeah, I'm like, well, how does that work?
Yeah.
Because I like you, I remember people from my childhood, and I do have friends that I knew, but do I stay in contact? Not like some of the people, and yeah, because I thought that everybody moved like I moved, right?
Yeah.
And there's people that, well, I never left the city limits. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and then like when I would meet people too, it's like, why build that history or get close to this person if I know I'm just gonna leave anyway?
Right.
You know.
But it's different now, right?
Yeah. I mean, with like social media and all that kind of stuff. Like my brother, he stayed in contact with a lot of his friends back in Atlanta. He still talks to them.
Yeah.
And just that kind of relationship is always like, how do you do that to me? You know.
I get it. So, question. So, what happened in all of this activity and stuff that made you one day say, this might be a problem?
So it wasn't until maybe like, I guess I would start this around like when I was 17, 18.
Yeah.
I was, using here and there, whoever had pills at school, I'd buy from them or anything like that came my way. But then around that time, my grandfather died. And he was a really big impact on my life because, my mom was in the military. She went to Iraq twice. So my grandparents were there to take care of me and my siblings. So when he died, it was like one of my father figures died. I say one of my father figures because I'm still close to my dad, but he stayed in New York after my mom and him divorced.
Okay.
So when he passed away, I was already in a really bad place with my mom. She knew that I was using and stuff like that. She's like, I don't want this stuff in my house. You have your brother and sister here. Like, I don't want them around, all that kind of stuff. And I was always butting heads with my stepdad. So we tried this whole, like, I would move to New York to be with my dad. And that was, like, right after my grandfather died. So I didn't even, like, go to his wake or anything like that. It was all so sudden. But then once I got to New York, I was like, okay, well, I don't know anybody here. So maybe I won't find any substances or anything like that. But I didn't have that, recovered mindset or anything like that. So, of course, I was seeking those things out. And then I got into something a little dirty over there called East Coast powder, heroin, and it's a very strong form of it. So, of course, I got on that. And that's when it kind of hit me where I never felt those withdrawals or anything from the substance until I got to there.
Yeah.
That's when I started using for like days long, weeks long, and then having those like really bad withdrawals and stuff like that.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. I'm so grateful that I don't have to wake up and
Right. That is one of the things that like for me, I enjoy the fact that the first thought of my mind is not I got to get right.
Oh yeah.
Because back in the heroin days, it was like, oh, that's your every waking moment.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you wake up, it's like, okay, in about an hour, I'm in deep trouble.
Yeah.
I'll do something fast.
Yeah.
So the freedom from that is amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy how we would like I would wake up in like when I was in that kind of thing, and be like, I have to be at work in 1 hour, so I have like 1 hour to find something, or else I'm not going to be well for the whole day.
I'm going to be late to work, or I'm not on the
yeah.
I did it.
So after going to New York, I started using that kind of heavy stuff. It wasn't really working out over there, and I was getting a better relationship with my mom. So she was like, "How about you come back to San Antonio?" So I did, and I was okay for a little bit, but then I went right back to using hard drugs and stuff like that. But that was around the time when like I was working, I was like building up my own money, so I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna just move away from my mom. Still be in San Antonio, but I won't be under her house, so I could use whenever I want,
Right.
And at the time I was with somebody, and we got a place together, and it was the whole like gymnastics of trying to hide that stuff from her too while living with her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So she wasn't aware.
No, not at all. Like she knew that like I smoked weed and stuff like that, but she didn't know to like what extent that meant.
Okay.
Like I would talk to her like, yeah, I've used this once in a while or whatever, but like how much I was doing, she was not aware.
It's like back in the day, I did some heroin, and she's like, "Oh, back in the day, I must have been when I was a kid." Yesterday,
Yeah, right? Because this is like I was still in my early 20s at this point, you know.
Yeah.
But so we started living together. I was using like crazy. You know, around that time I was getting stuff fronted to me by my dealer because of course I'll pay you back next week, and then come next week, oh I still need more, and but here's the money from last week, you know. So it's keeping up that cycle.
Right.
Until the point where I lost the apartment. My relationship was rocky, you know, with all the lying and all the like making up excuses to leave to go score,
Of course.
stuff like that. So yeah, after getting my like losing my apartment, I ended up like becoming homeless. So that's yeah, I was still with her to some extent, but you know now I had nowhere to go. So I was relying on people that I was using with to like crash at their place, sometimes staying outside, asking like my dealers if I could crash there, you know. But in return, I would have to do some like crazy stuff like making drops and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like when it started really getting bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
Like what made me like
What,
get
what
tired
happened?
of it.
So this has gone to this extent. So now your boat is sinking. It sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happened when it? I mean, did it? What did you do?
Basically, so like I guess my turning point and like what got me to go toward recovery is I was living with one of my dealers at the time. You know, it was just I was getting so tired of waking up every single day, having to do whatever the heck he wanted me to do in order to get this drug.
Yeah.
And then you know, like just seeing different people come through my life, and like you know, I see the direction all these people are going through, and you know, I was always told like, "You look so young. Why are you doing heroin?" Like you know, I'd be like doing like loading up rigs and stuff with these older people that are like, you know, you're gonna end up like me if you don't get clean. So seeing all that kind of stuff, and my mom was still very encouraging at the time. She's always supported me. So she was like, you know, I want you to do better. Like, what if I got you into a recovery kind of thing? So
Okay.
then she kind of made the pieces move for me to go to Lifetime Recovery.
So you went to Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lifetime Recovery is a recovery place. Where is it at?
In San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're plugging Lifetime a little bit.
Yeah. Shout out to Lifetime.
Yeah. Shout out to Lifetime. They just expanded. They have they do women.
Yeah, they do women now. Yeah, I just
So
yeah.
that's huge. They're definitely coming right along.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think about your Lifetime experience? Now Lifetime is, yes, they do 12-step stuff, right? But they're more of a cognitive, right?
Yeah,
Behavioral.
I learned CBT over there.
Yeah,
Which-
cognitive behavior.
That kind of thing I've never thought about in my whole life before learning it there.
Yeah.
But Lifetime, I loved the experience being there. And before that, I went to like outpatient treatments, but like because my mom would try to get me into them, but that never really worked.
Right.
So actually being there and you know having to sit with the bad feelings of like, well, I really want to use. It's like physically draining me, mentally draining me, but I just had to do that work. It really made an impact on me. I loved it there actually.
So I too went to treatment, and the question was asked of me if I could do outpatient classes,
Yeah.
and stay sober, if I needed to do inpatient, and the honest answer, because my daughter made me promise her I'd be honest with myself. Anyway, so the honest answer, I told him straight up. I said, well, you know, you can put me in outpatient, but I'm going to keep getting high till you catch me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to inpatient because I knew me, and I knew I needed that separation. So yeah. There's something about that not being, you know, to be separated from for a while.
Yeah, physically just away, and then like at Lifetime, it's like, you know, what's there to do? I could take walks, I could read books, I could watch movies, you know, all these different things. I could connect with other people that are dealing with the same problem I have without a phone, like anything external, like coming in. You know, I loved it there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't know anything about CBT or any of that kind of way of thinking before going there.
Okay. So what happened when you left Lifetime?
I got into like a sober house.
A sober house?
Yeah,
Right.
Oxford.
So what does your recovery look like now?
It basically is like a mix of I guess dealing with my mental health,
Okay.
where I work, which is emergency shelter,
Okay.
transformational campus,
Yeah.
and then like religious based. It's like those three things
Okay.
to keep me going. I don't go to any 12-step meetings anymore. I haven't in a few years.
Right.
My recovery date is actually coming up. It's August 30th.
Well, okay. Well, come see me August 30th. Talk about it because we don't do fronts, right?
Yeah.
But so your recovery is more spiritually based.
Yeah, spiritually based.
Okay, well that's great. And you have a recovery sobriety day coming up. That's good
Yeah.
too. So, what is a new day for Sean look like? If you were a new day when you wake up, tell me what do you do? What is your day like? Do you wake up? Tell me.
Well, like if it's a work day, you know,
Okay.
get up, get ready for the day. I usually listen to podcasts.
Okay.
Listen to this podcast.
Okay. Thank you.
Stuff like that on the way to work. Things that just keep me, you know, reflecting on my life or like things going on. And then, you know, go to work. I try the best I can to support people that I work with. You know, I work with a lot of outreach groups that talk to people on the street and try to convince them to go to shelter.
Right. So you don't just not with that one organization. You do that kind of citywide, right?
Oh yeah.
So your job contends of like the city of San Antonio has outreach people, Cortisone Ministries, all these different. So you kind of coordinate all that together, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it.
It sounds like it. Yeah, so we used to work at the same place.
Yeah.
And for me, man, it was so fulfilling to work there and to be around people and to see people make those transformations in their life is amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you do that job. I've seen that job and I was like, you know, I didn't think that was gonna, you know, because it's got to be hard.
It can
coordinate all that stuff.
It can be. Yeah.
So you know about all the empty beds in San Antonio for people that are homeless, right? All of them.
Yeah, because my title is a centralized shelter coordinator. So if an outreach worker finds somebody on the street, I'm going to try my hardest to find them a bed somewhere.
Okay. So now if I call you and say, hey, I got so and so that needs a place, then you're the guy that does that.
I can help you out. Yeah.
All right. So Sean's y'all's hook up out there in San Antonio. If you know somebody homeless and you want to get them a house, just figure out how to get a hold of him.
It's funny because I'm not really on any social media. Honestly.
I have your number.
That's true. Yeah,
I got his number.
Reach out to Todd and he'll talk to me about it.
But okay, so what else you want to tell us about, Sean?
Well, really, like I never really sat there and reflected on like why am I this way regarding substances? Why do I feel like I need to change the way I feel all the time? Why am I so obsessed with how people perceive me? And you know, like it stems from low self-esteem.
Right.
Growing up, I was always picked on. I'm only like 5'2", so that's pretty short.
Okay.
And growing up, I was picked on a lot for that. So I started trying to find ways to make people perceive me the way I wanted to be perceived, which led me to a very narcissistic place.
Okay.
You know, I started telling myself like, kind of like, you're perfect. You're awesome. Like, if anybody ever says anything negative about you, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So like, after going to Lifetime, learning CBT, you know, like changing the way you think will change the way you feel, which will change your actions.
Right.
That whole structure was something that was so mind blowing to me because I'm like, I could really work on like how I think or like how I feel. Like I could change the way like I feel inside, like. You know, So that stuff is very important. I try to take as much time as I can to reflect on the things I say to people and the things I do.
Okay.
It's very important to me now.
Yeah. So, question. So if I'm hearing you right, do you think that you could have gotten sober and stayed sober without dealing with your mental health?
No, definitely not. No.
Okay.
Because before I went to recovery or like a Lifetime recovery, I had like suicidal ideations, attempts too, and then even after also.
Okay.
So that stuff needed to be addressed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big proponent. I definitely think that if you don't do both of them together, like if you work on your sobriety first and not your mental health, then your mental health is going to cause you to go back to the substances.
Oh yeah,
If you work on your mental health before your sobriety, well, then your substances are going to make you go right back.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that they should be addressed together, and I know that Lifetime does that. Another program, ITP, I think they still do that. I think most programs should do both of them in conjunction together.
Yeah, they really need to.
Yes, there are some out there that don't, and then there are some out there that are strictly, one way or the other. I don't want to put anything, any negativity out in the world. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there are some that say that, this is the only way, this is the right way, this is the way you have to do this. And I am very anti, this is the way you have to do anything. I tell people that I've never really quit anything in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of look at me and, it's like, well, you can never do drugs again. Yes, I can.
Right.
I can.
Yeah.
I don't. But so what I do is it's a choice.
Yeah.
I choose not to do it. And so it takes away that challenge, because you give me a challenge, you tell me I can't do something. Addict brains and mental health brains, they automatically say, oh, yeah. And then you try to prove that, hey, so it's that, and I know that's not the best way to be, but it's just in our natural, I think it's in our being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell people when they tell me that I can't do this or I can't do that, I'm very quickly tell them, yes, I can. Mm-hmm. Very much so I can, but I just choose not to, because that makes it my choice.
Right.
And I'm not ringing going, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because I can. I know that I know that I can. I just choose not to. So on those terms, I deal with it very well. But some of those people out there, they're like, well, this
one way
only now. Or you're going to be in that group, you can't come to that group. And I love to, all right, everybody, don't be mad at me. I love to go to NA groups and talk about alcohol. I love to go to A groups and talk about drugs.
I never understood why that was such like a no-no thing.
Well, because a lot of the old timers feel that's a big deal. They think that AA is a place where you talk about your alcohol problem. And in my opinion, I think that alcohol was one of the first drugs that man learned how to make.
Yeah.
Some people don't really necessarily agree with that. And they're there for the same reason with NA. Okay, so NA says, well, we're here to talk about, drugs, but alcohol is a drug. Mm-hmm. And that's why I have the opportunity recovery group that I do. It's kind of like everything thrown in together, because I don't think that there's any one path. There is not just one path. There's so many different paths. Now, if that works for you, great. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some people that will do only one or only of them, many millions, okay? And it works great for them. And I know that I worked AA probably more than any of them, and it worked great for me.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't addressing my mental health at the same time, so AA and CA, NA, all those groups that I went to and everything, I would say that, my sobriety date and then, doing all that. So it's an ongoing thing. I still continue to go to a lot of meetings. I still do a lot of work on me. But it took me 3.5 years of going to counseling every week.
Yeah.
To deal with this.
The
mental side of it. And what I learned in the process was that this was the problem. Mm-hmm. The mental, because really what we do is, like you were saying, you want to change the way you feel, but you're self-medicating. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of that. Yeah. And, I found that this thing, it's still not my friend. It'll never be my friend. It always, because it remembers what it was like back in the day, right? That's what it wants. That's what it wants us to do. So it tells us stuff. I tell people all the time, that thing ain't your friend, man. It's telling you stuff that's not true. And even after 7.5 years of sobriety, it's still kind of
doing that. Yeah. Like, don't you get tired, man? But yeah, like about the whole not like having to follow one way of being or getting sober or being in recovery. That like when I went to Lifetime, that was like one of my biggest things that I was like kind of combative about, the 12 steps. And also because at the time, like I didn't have a higher power. I didn't believe in anything. I just believed in myself. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, if that's like one of the steps, that's like a very important step, then I don't think I can work this program, because I don't believe in anything, you know. Or like going to meetings, like when I went to my sober house, and they're like, you got to go to meetings every single week or this many in a month. And then I would see people there, and they're like, oh, I've been sober for like 20 years, and what keeps me going is going to these meetings. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that for 20 years. That sounds exhausting, you know.
Right.
But like, yeah, realizing that there's more than one avenue or more than one street of like reaching that goal is great. Also because like using things like Suboxone to stay clean, I would always hear from people like, well, if you're on methadone, if you're on Suboxone, you're not really in recovery. You're not really sober. You know, and that's like a gray area.
Well, so it's a gray area for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I used to, you know, in the beginning, I kind of had some difficulty with that myself. I'm thinking, well, you know, if you're using those substances, then you're not really sober, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I met a lady. I won't say her name because I'm not allowed to disclose.
Yeah,
That.
yeah.
She just freaking go nuts on me. But and she helped me tremendously along those lines because she was like, well, you know, what do you think about me? And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you know, do you think I'm a professional? And I'm like, yeah, you're great, right?
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, she used medically assisted treatment because that's what basically what that is MAT, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And she told me the whole story. And so seeing that and then meeting a few other people that use that method to get sober, stay sober, and now knowing people very close to me that are using that program. Well, so about, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I had a complete shift in the way that I looked at that.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, would you say that if you break your leg and you go to the doctor and he gives you a pain pill, right?
Yeah.
And you take that pain pill, does that affect your sobriety date?
Right.
Well, there are some times when medically required to have something, and so, you know, that would not necessarily, in my opinion, ruin your sobriety date. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so if you're doing that, then the doctor has to give somebody this medically assisted treatment. And the way I look at it, man, they're not sticking needles in their arms.
Yeah. We're not like doing that same kind of things that we were doing to like get rid of drugs.
So I 100% support that now, and I don't think that affects a sobriety date, and I'll fight with anybody who wants to fight about that. Not physically, just kind of argumentatively, I suppose. Don't come
A heated debate about it.
A debate, there you go. That's good. But so I've changed over time in my recovery, and I've been more open-minded about things because you know what? It's not about my recovery, and it's not about your recovery. It's their recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and if that's what it looks like for them, great.
Yeah.
You know, and done properly, it's a fantastic program.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it keeps you away from putting yourself in those bad situations, like dealing with dealers, like trying to steal to get your drugs, you know, all these kind of things, and then you're in the right direction. You're doing the right thing.
Well, so yeah, you're not a drain on society.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're stealing or you're doing all these things to provide your addiction, you're basically a drain on society.
Yeah.
You know, and the whole goal is to, it's like the legal system. You know, everybody thinks, well, the legal system is there to punish you. Yeah. For certain crimes, you need to be punished, right?
Right.
But there's other things, like I don't necessarily agree with, you know, the incarceration rate for people that have substance use issues, alcoholism. I think there's a better way for that to be treated, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I tell people, because I deal with a lot of people that go through those processes, is that the legal system is designed for one thing and one thing only. And like, what's that? It's designed to get you to change. So I encourage people, hey, before you go to court, make these changes, and then you go to that judge and you can show this judge all these changes that you made and say, hey, you know, why would they put you in prison if you're already doing what they want you to do?
Right.
Prison's designed to get you to do that. You're already doing it, so why would they? And so it usually get a better outcome.
Yeah.
Because that's what the legal system is designed to do, is get you to change. Unless, you know, murder, things, you know, things like that, that those people probably need to have some time away from society.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, I have these weird little soapboxes that I get on at times. So Sean, what are your plans for, do you have any outlook for the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I haven't really put much thought into that. I am married, so like hopefully maybe kids sometime in the future.
Okay.
But taking things one step at a time. My wife and I aren't exactly in that place yet to have children or anything like that. But I think in the next 5 years, I just want to serve the community
Okay.
as much as I can.
Okay.
Because like coming from like Lifetime, and then like Pay It Forward also paid for my first 3 months in sober home. All these different organizations has helped me, so like I want to help give back as much as I can.
It's interesting. A lot of people in recovery do the same. I took from the system for many years, and since I've been sober, that I think that's probably what I'm going to do for the entirety of my life.
Yeah.
Be of service to others. That's a huge thing for me.
I was just telling your wife out there that like in giving to people, you do also receive.
Of course.
You receive good.
Yes. Well, it's and the thing is, I tell everybody, especially working where you work and in some of the other areas of the people work here, many jobs, is that, when we let our head down at night, we know we help somebody. That's a good feeling.
That's an awesome
It's
feeling.
an awesome feeling to know, hey, you look back and think, oh. And the thing is that we don't even have to know about that. We don't even have to know that someone's there. We just know that it happened. Because I've had people come to me. I remember you 5 years ago. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. Because I don't remember things like that very much. Like I think that sometimes I feel bad about that, but I don't.
I relate to that a lot. Yeah.
Because I don't keep score. To me, it's all about the one. People are, like, well, it is all about the one. It doesn't matter if 1,000 people watch this, right?
Yeah.
It only matters about that one person that needed to hear something we had to say that helped them.
Yeah.
And if there's that, then it's worth it. No matter what you do, I think it's worth it in those terms.
Yeah. So like in I guess touching on like spirituality, religion.
Sure.
Like in the faith that I'm in, there's like a saying that like if you save one person, then it's as if you saved all of humanity, and I really believe in that.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it from the right context, because if you it's the same way with recovery. Say you help somebody get sober, right, or even in their mental health. But if you help somebody get sober and they stay sober, they're going to help somebody probably more than just one person. Right?
Yeah.
So
it's a domino effect.
Yes, that domino effect. So I can see where that's
Yeah, and I just love how like the work that we do, a lot of people in these kind of organizations have lived the same lives of like the people that they're helping.
Yes.
It really, really helps.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you got a little bit. Tell the world your little closing. What you want to tell them?
Just know that everyone is unique, so you don't have to follow one set of like recovery standards or anything like that. Whatever works for you, and that's all I gotta really say.
All right. Bye.
All right.
All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. So if you're in San Antonio tonight, we're having at 9:00 at the ARP Opportunity Recovery Group meeting rooms at 11622 El Sendero. We're having a poker night for charity. So if you feel like getting out about 9:00, come by and see us. And we'll have the podcast every Saturday at 10 a.m. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Have a great week. Thank you.